Mark Thompson back with head coach Larry Courville of the Reading Royals today, announcing the re-signing of Ethan Cox, forward for the Royals. He was acquired by Reading late last season in the trade that sent Ryan Crothers to the Alaska Aces. We talked on Tuesday about getting the rights to Chris Lankow, and now you've signed the other element in that transaction as well, Larry, Ethan Cox, for the upcoming season.
Yeah, I think when we got Ethan last year, it was a great addition for our club. It was an element that we missed, a defensive center that can shut down teams' first lines, offensive lines, and I think he was a great addition. He's got great character. We see him as a leadership guy in our locker room, and a guy who competes every night, does a lot of little things that get unnoticed on the scoreboard.
Well, Ethan Cox is another one of those guys that comes off the 2011 Kelly Cup championship team with the Alaska Aces. You love to have championship experience in your locker room.
Well, I definitely do. We talked about Chris, being on a championship team also with Ethan Cox. And if you remember our last game of the year last year, for us to clinch a playoff spot against Trenton, who was the guy that came through? Definitely Ethan Cox. At that point, I think he was in our lineup 6 or 7 games, hadn't scored a goal. He comes out with a hat trick in a game that it was a must-win for us, and he's a guy that competes extremely hard, and he came through for us.
Well, that was actually his second hat trick of the season. He actually had one with the Alaska Aces as well. You talk about Ethan Cox as a guy that does kind of the little unnoticed things, but there you go. There's big flash in the pan there as well.
Yeah, definitely. He's known for his defensive abilities, but he also has some abilities to score, and he's proven that. He was almost a 20-goal scorer last year in our league, but I think, probably could have scored more, but he was always in a situation where, coaches loved him as a defensive player that can shut down offensive units, and he accepts that role, and he loves to do that role. He's also a great penalty killer. We used him in that role, and it made our team a stronger team last year.
As with Chris Lankow, of course, Ethan Cox under an ECHL deal, you got to expect these guys are going to be playing at their best because they're looking for that call-up. They're the type of players that are going to have to earn their opportunities in the American Hockey League this year.
Well, he definitely is. He wants an opportunity to get to the next level, and fortunately for him, last year when he first came to Reading, I think he only lasted 1 game, or 1 or 2 games was called up to Bridgeport. So he's a little bit in the North Division here. He's closer to a lot more American League teams, gives him more opportunity for call-up purposes, and he's hungry for that.
All right, head coach Larry Courville of the Reading Royals today announcing the signing of Ethan Cox. He is the 7th Royal announced as signed for the 2012-2013 season, joining Yannick Tifu, Trevor Lewis, Bryant Moley, Ian O'Connor, Derek Lapointe, and Chris Lankow. Larry, thanks again for spending time with us.
Thanks for having me, Mark.